Chosen one, I need you to hear this clearly because I do not believe this is a coincidence. Right now, in this specific season of your life, something has been pulling at you. You have been feeling it for longer than you can fully explain. This restlessness that no amount of routine, no amount of gratitude, no amount of keeping yourself busy can fully quiet. A sense that the place you are standing in has given you everything it has. And that something else, something new, something you have not arrived at yet, is waiting in a direction you have not fully turned toward. People around you may not see it. They may still expect you to stay. They may interpret your pulling away as confusion, your longing for something different as ingratitude. But there is a voice beneath all of that, quieter than the doubt, steadier than the uncertainty, that keeps saying the same thing, in the same direction, every time you go still enough to hear it. That voice is not anxiety. That restlessness is not a malfunction. And what I need to tell you today, with everything I believe, is this. God said pack up. Not one day, not when it is more convenient, more certain, more comfortable, now. Because what He is moving you toward a new location, a new circle of people, a new dimension of blessing, a genuinely new life, could not reach you where you were. The coordinates of your destiny have always pointed elsewhere. I want to walk through this with you today, carefully and completely, because by the time this message ends, I believe you will understand not just where God is taking you, but why He could not take you there any sooner, and why everything that felt like loss was actually the preparation for arrival. This is your word. Stay with me. Before we go any further, everything I am sharing with you in this message is offered freely. But if at some point your spirit tells you there is something more available for the season you are entering, you will find a link in the description below and in the pinned comment. Only follow it if you feel genuinely led. For now, everything you need is right here. And I want to ask you something, if you can stay with me through all of it, because by the time we are done, you will understand exactly why the 5 signs you have already been experiencing are not random. You will encounter an ancient instruction that God gave to the very first chosen one who was ever asked to pack up and go, an instruction that, in its original Hebrew, means something far more profound than what most translations show. You will have 3 practical frameworks for how to cross this threshold without leaving destruction behind you. And you will receive a word over your life that I believe you came here to receive. Every part of this matters. Stay. Now, let me show you something about what you have already been living. There is a specific kind of tired that you may have been carrying lately. Not the kind that sleep fixes. Not the kind that a few days off repairs. This is a tired that lives somewhere in the bones. A heaviness that settles in and will not fully lift, no matter what you do. The things you reach for to restore yourself do not restore you the way they once did. This is the first sign, and it is not a physical problem. It is what happens to a chosen one who has been stationed in a place past the end of that assignment. Your body knows something, your mind is still negotiating. The heaviness is your spirit processing the conclusion of what was, while it waits, with everything it has, for what is coming next. The second sign is a shift in your tolerance. Places and conversations and environments that you used to move through without any friction, they now drain you in a way they never did before. The same gatherings feel hollow. The same city feels like it is pressing in. The same routines feel like they are keeping you in place rather than carrying you anywhere. You have not become difficult. You have not become ungrateful. Your frequency has shifted, and when your frequency shifts, the environments that were calibrated for the old frequency start to feel like interference. The third sign, pay close attention, because this is the one most people miss entirely. There is a creative restlessness in you that has no clear target. You want to build something, to create something, to pour your gifts into something that is worthy of them. But the environment you are in does not have a container for what you are trying to produce. The impulse is there, but the outlet is not. And so it sits inside you as frustration, as aimlessness, as a nagging sense that what you are carrying is larger than what your current setting can hold. That is not impatience. That is not ego. That is the sound of a builder being asked to work in a building that is already finished. The fourth sign is in the realm of what people call coincidence, though we both know it is something else. The same place name keeps appearing from unrelated sources. A specific kind of opportunity keeps surfacing from unexpected directions. A word, a phrase, a direction echoes back to you from different corners of your life, as if something is gently, persistently pointing at a location on a map you have not yet opened. God does not shout, he echoes. And when the echo is this consistent, it is no longer coincidence, it is a coordinate. The fifth sign is in your intuition. It is stronger than it has been in a very long time. You know things before they happen. You sense things about situations before the evidence arrives. You have dreams that do not feel like rest. They feel like preparation, like your spirit is visiting places and meeting people that your physical eyes have not yet seen. This is not imagination running loose. This is your spirit arriving ahead of your body in the place where God is sending you. All five of these signs tell one story. You are like a tree that has been planted in soil that has run out of what it had to give you. The soil is not bad. The soil gave you your roots, the depth, the foundation, the character that cannot be manufactured anywhere else. But the soil is exhausted now, and the gardener, the one who planted you, is ready to move you to ground that is richer, deeper, and more calibrated for the height you are meant to reach. Now let me answer the question you are carrying somewhere underneath all of this. If God was always going to move you, if this new season was always the plan, then why did he keep you in the old place as long as he did? That question is fair. It deserves a real answer. The first reason is this: there are things that can only be formed in the environment that formed you. The patience you carry, it was built in a season that gave you no option but to wait. The depth of your compassion, it came from years when you were the one who needed compassion. The ability to hold your peace in difficult rooms, that was forged in seasons when the difficulty was right outside your door. You did not waste those years. You became someone inside them. Someone who now has the capacity to carry what the next chapter requires. The second reason is harder, but it is true. Not everyone around you right now was meant to continue with you. Some of the relationships in your current environment were specific to this season. Not broken, not toxic, just time-specific. And if God had moved you earlier, you would have tried to bring everyone along, and in doing so, you would have carried weight into the new season that was never yours to carry there. The third reason, listen carefully. God needed you to know what your life felt like without your full assignment expressed. He needed you to sit long enough in the space between what you carried and where you were positioned that you would never take the new season for granted. The desert is not punishment. The desert is why the garden becomes something you will steward with everything you have. And now I need to show you something in the original text. When God called to Abram before his name was changed, before any miracle, before any promise was yet fulfilled, the instruction was not simply go. In the original Hebrew, the phrase used is leka, 2 words, and in their full weight, those 2 words do not just mean go. They mean go for yourself, go to yourself. The journey God called Abram into was not primarily geographical. It was identitarian. God was not just relocating Abram to a new piece of land. He was relocating Abram toward the fullness of who Abram was created to be. A fullness that the old environment, with all its comfort and familiarity, had been quietly suppressing. It was not until Abram left that Abraham could emerge. The name change did not happen in Ur. It happened on the road, in the going. This is what is happening to you. God is not just asking you to change your address. He is asking you to go toward yourself, toward the version of you that the old environment could never fully hold. What looked like delay was actually development. What looked like isolation was actually insulation. What looked like being passed over was actually being protected. What looked like the wrong place was actually the right classroom. And I hear God saying to the chosen one listening right now, pack your belonging. Where you are is not where I need you to be. Now let me talk about what is making it hard to go. Because you know something is calling you forward, and yet you are afraid to answer it, not because you doubt the call. Because answering it requires releasing things that are still attached, places, people, versions of yourself, and you are not entirely sure you are permitted to release them. The fear of the unknown is real. Your mind is trying to calculate the risk of moving into something it has no map for. And that calculation keeps producing delay. But underneath the fear, there is something even harder to name, and I want to name it, because I think you need someone to say it out loud. There is guilt, a very specific guilt, the guilt of outgrowing a place, while people you love are still rooted in it. The guilt of pulling back from conversations and environments you have already quietly left in your spirit, even though your body has not moved yet. The guilt of being unavailable in ways you used to be available, not because you care less, but because something in you is already elsewhere. You feel guilty for the way the old gathering now drains instead of restores. You feel guilty for the slow drift happening between you and people you genuinely love. You feel guilty for wanting something your current circle cannot yet see or confirm. You feel guilty for the silence, the things you used to explain that you no longer feel compelled to defend. You feel guilty for the distance that has been growing, not because of conflict, but simply because you have become someone the old setting no longer fully contains. That guilt is real. I am not going to minimize it. But guilt and conviction are not the same thing. Conviction is God redirecting you. Guilt is the old environment trying to hold what has already been given back. And underneath the guilt, if you are completely honest, there is something else, the terror that it actually works, that you actually go, that the new place actually opens, and that the person you become in receiving it is someone you have not yet met, someone you cannot fully predict or control. That is its own specific kind of fear. But hear this, that fear is not weakness, it is awareness. The ones who collapse under the blessing never feared it. They had no sense of how much it would ask of them. Your honest fear is what proves you understand the weight of where you are going. And understanding the weight is what makes you someone who can carry it. So let me give you something before we continue. You are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to outgrow places. You are allowed to outgrow seasons that once carried you and that you now carry. You are allowed to protect what God is building inside you, even when the people around you do not have language for what He is building. You are allowed to move before you have everyone's blessing. You are allowed to go. And you do not owe a single person an apology for becoming who the Father always intended you to be. Now let me tell you about two people who heard the same instruction you are hearing today. The first was Abram. He heard lek. He packed. No map, no timeline, no guarantee about what he would find on the other side. Just a direction and a decision. And what came after? A new land, a new covenant, a new name, not Abram, but Abraham, the father of nations. Descendants more vast than he could count. A legacy that still speaks. God did not give Abraham a map. He gave him a movement, and the movement, the act of trusting and going, became the miracle. The second was Ruth. She stood on the exact threshold you are standing on right now. On one side, Moab, her country, her people, her language, her safety, everything familiar. On the other, a land she had never lived in, among people she did not yet know, following a direction she could only explain as this is where I am supposed to be. She could have stayed. Everyone around her said it was the sensible choice, but something in her would not release what she knew, and she declared it. Where you go, I will go. Where you make your home, I will make mine. Your people will be my people. Ruth did not know she was walking toward Boaz. She did not know she was walking toward redemption, provision, and a legacy that would run all the way through the lineage of David. She only knew she was walking toward her assignment. She was a transplanted tree, and in the soil of Bethlehem, she grew a lineage that no one standing in Moab could have imagined. In part 2, I am going to walk you through exactly what is waiting for you in each of the 4 new dimensions. The new location, the new people, the new blessings, the new life. I am going to be specific. I am going to give you 3 actual frameworks for how to cross this threshold. And there is one more thing I did not have space to explain today, something about what happens inside your brain during a major spiritual transition. Something that determines whether you arrive in the new season with full capacity or whether you arrive and still feel stuck in ways you cannot explain. That piece changes everything. I will share it in part 2. Stay with me. The best is what comes next. Welcome back, Chosen One. In part 1, we established something together that I want to carry with us. The 5 signs you have been experiencing are not random. They are divine positioning signals. The old season was formational, necessary, and complete. The guilt about outgrowing is not God's voice. And 2 of the most remarkable chosen ones who ever lived, Abraham and Ruth, heard the same instruction you are hearing, packed up without a complete map, and walked into the most defining seasons of their entire existence. Now, let me talk about what is waiting for you on the other side of this threshold, not abstractly. Specifically, there are 4 new dimensions God is opening for you. And they are not 4 separate promises, they are 4 aspects of one complete new life. Here is the first. The new location. When God relocates you, the new environment will not feel like home on the first day, maybe not even in the first month. A transplanted tree goes through a period of adjustment after the move. The roots are searching for purchase in new ground, and for a season, everything feels more uncertain than it did before. For those entering this kind of season, the shift in geography will feel disorienting before it feels freeing. There will be a moment where you wonder if the direction was right. Hold still in that moment. Do not interpret early discomfort as evidence of a wrong move. The disorientation is temporary. The deepening of your roots in the new soil is permanent. And the one thing you must not do is try to recreate the old environment in the new place, the same patterns, the same rhythms, the same relational architecture dressed up in a new city. God is not just giving you a new address. He is giving you a new assignment. And the assignment requires that you let the new place teach you who you are there. Here is the second dimension. The new people. This one requires a specific kind of patience. When you first arrive in the new season, whether that is a new city, a new community, a new environment of any kind, the right people will not all be standing at the door to greet you. They will be revealed gradually, the way morning light appears slowly, not all at once. Some of them are already in place, waiting for someone who carries what you carry to arrive. Others are being moved toward you right now, from their own old seasons, in their own acts of obedience. What you must not do in the gap before those people appear is fill the relational vacuum with whoever is available. Presence does not equal assignment. Wait for the people who recognize what you carry without asking you to explain it first. They are coming. The ache of the in-between is not evidence that you are alone. It is evidence that you are early. Before I go further, I want to pause here, because I know that some of you will not make it to the end of this message. Life will pull, and I want to make sure that if you are leaving now, you leave with at least this. There is a tool I will come back to in full depth later in this message, something rooted in neuroscience, something specific to what happens inside the brain during a major season of transition. A researcher named Dr. Robert Lake developed it, and I believe it is one of the most practically relevant things available to a chosen one crossing a threshold right now. It is called the Genius Song. If something in you is already responding to that name, the information is in the description below and in the pinned comment. Do not click until you feel genuinely led. I will explain everything in full when we arrive there. But if you are leaving now, you know where to find it. The third dimension is the new blessings. Let me be honest with you about this one, because I do not want to oversimplify what God actually does. The provision, the open doors, the favor, the opportunity that belongs to your new season, they were never going to find you at the old address. Not because God was withholding, but because they were calibrated for the coordinates of the new location. The right opportunity, in the right environment, at the right time. There is a specific version of your breakthrough that could only become possible after the move. What you will feel when it begins to arrive is surprise. An almost unsettling kind of surprise, because it will come with a speed and a quality that the old environment never produced, even in your best seasons there. And your greatest challenge in that moment will not be receiving the blessing. It will be believing you are allowed to keep it. You are. Do not reduce yourself to the size of what the old season could hold. You were built for what is coming. The fourth dimension is the new life, and this is the one that encompasses all the others. New life is not a category. It is a condition. It is the condition of waking up in a life that finally feels like it was built for who you actually are, not who you had to be in the old place, not who others needed you to stay, but who God formed you to be from the very beginning. You will look back at this exact moment, at this threshold, at this decision, and you will understand that the fear you carried into it was not evidence that you were wrong to go. It was evidence that you understood the weight of the gift. And that understanding is what makes you someone who can steward it. Now let me give you 3 frameworks for how to actually cross this threshold. The first is what I call the threshold test. Before any major move, any major release of what has been familiar, run it through 3 questions. First, is this a response to what I am running from, or a response to what I am being called toward? Running away and being called forward can look identical from the outside. They feel different on the inside. Second, has this direction been confirmed by more than one independent source? Not sources I went looking for, but sources that came to me unbidden. Third, when I imagine this decision 10 years from now, not what it costs me today, but who it has made me 10 years from now, does peace increase or decrease? The second framework is the release protocol. For the moment when you know the move is right, but you cannot seem to let go. Here is what I want you to do right now, wherever you are. Bring what you need to release to mind: a place, a person, a version of yourself. And instead of gripping it tighter or pushing it away, picture yourself holding it out, open-handed, gently offering it back to the one who gave it. Not abandoning it, not discarding it, returning it. And say this in your own spirit, silently, right now: this was good, I am grateful, and I release it. That is not rejection, that is completion. And completion is what creates space for what is next. The third framework is the root before fruit principle. When you arrive in a new environment, there will be pressure, internal and external, to immediately produce, to prove the move was right, to justify what you gave up. Resist that pressure. A transplanted tree does not immediately bear fruit. It first sends its roots down into the new soil, finding water, establishing itself, learning the new ground. If you try to produce before you have rooted, you will exhaust yourself and produce nothing of lasting substance. Give yourself the first season in the new place to root. Learn the environment. Let the right people find you. Let your gifts adjust to the new context. The fruit will come, but only after the roots go down. Let me tell you about someone no name, because their privacy matters. About a year ago, this person was living in the city they had grown up in a career that was stable and quietly suffocating, surrounded by people they genuinely loved but could no longer grow alongside. Everything external said stay. Everything internal said go. They chose to go 600 miles. No relational foundation waiting on the other end. The first 3 months were the loneliest of their life. They sat with the root before fruit principle every day. They resisted the urge to fill the silence with noise. They planted. They waited. They released what was not theirs to bring forward. Around the 90-day mark, something shifted. A community emerged, not constructed through effort, but revealed by simply being in the right place. A professional door opened that would have been physically impossible in the old city. A relationship arrived that saw them without a filter, that asked for nothing but presence. They told me later, I did not find the new life. The new life found me. I just had to put myself where it could reach me. She proved herself in the new soil before she announced what she had found. Now, before I show you what I promised, and I will show you, there is one more dimension to this conversation that I have been building toward from the very beginning. One more layer, and this one is different from everything I have shared so far. Let me step back for just a moment and consolidate what we have covered together. The 5 signs you have been experiencing are divine positioning signals, not symptoms of anxiety. The old season was necessary, formational, not a failure. The guilt about outgrowing is not conviction. It is the final voice of what has already concluded. The 4 dimensions waiting for you are real, and they are sequential. The 3 frameworks give you the method for crossing the threshold without self-destruction. You are not lost, you are being relocated. And now there is one more piece, about your brain. And I hear the Father saying to the chosen one, in this room right now, what I am moving you toward is not just a new address. It is the fullness of everything I created you to be. And to receive that fullness, the instrument must be calibrated to hold it. Dr. Lake spent 34 years researching what happens neurologically when a human being crosses a major life threshold. His work, developed in collaboration with research from MIT, Princeton, and several other leading institutions, uncovered something that explains a pattern many people experience but cannot name. Some chosen ones step into a new season and immediately expand. The right doors open, clarity arrives, things move. Others step into the same kind of new season and find themselves carrying the same inner heaviness into a new location. The external changes, the internal does not, and they cannot understand why. The answer comes down to a specific brainwave called gamma. Researchers have mapped it with precision. It is the frequency most closely associated with clear thinking, with pattern recognition, with creative insight, with what Scripture describes as a sound mind, and with what most people in transition describe as finally being able to hear the season clearly. Gamma is the frequency of openness, of reception, of flow, and here is what suppresses it. The accumulated weight of a season that has concluded but has not been released from the nervous system. The low-frequency state that results from years in an environment too small for the calling. Scientists call the process of gamma suppression the decline effect, and it begins gradually, often as early as childhood, and deepens over time under prolonged stress and spiritual mismatch. This is why the location can change, but the inner experience can remain the same. It is not a failure of faith. It is a frequency that needs to be recalibrated. Just as the transplanted tree needs specific nutrients in the new soil to establish its roots and produce what it was created to produce, the transitioning mind needs a specific frequency to receive what the new season is actually carrying. The Genius Song is a 7-minute digital audio track listened to through headphones that uses a technology called brain entrainment to reactivate the gamma frequency that the decline effect has suppressed. 7 minutes, headphones on, that is the practice. No meditation background required. No ritual or preparation needed. The audio does the neurological work, and the effects begin from the first session. I want to share something with you. A woman navigating a season of transition very similar to what I have been describing. New city, no relational foundation yet. Doing every spiritual practice she knew, was still experiencing a kind of mental fog that would not lift. Decision-making felt exhausting. Clarity felt just out of reach, present but inaccessible. She began listening to the Genius Song each morning, 7 minutes before the day started. Within the first week, The fog began to thin. Within 3 weeks, she made a professional decision she had been paralyzed on for 6 months. Within 60 days, she said it is as if the volume on the right things got turned up, not louder in a stressful way, clearer, like I could finally hear what the season was actually saying to me. I want to be honest with you the way I always try to be. The Genius Song is not a shortcut around the spiritual work. It is not a replacement for prayer, for community, for the frameworks we covered earlier. What it is the neurological complement to the spiritual practice. It recalibrates the instrument so that the music the new season is playing can come through without interference. 18,366 people have used this tool, and what makes that number significant is not the size, it is what accompanies it. Less than 4% have ever requested a refund. Of every 25 people who listen, 24 experience enough of a shift that they keep it past the guarantee window. That is the quality signal. That is what matters when you are deciding whether to trust something with your threshold moment. When most people look for support during a major life transition, the options they reach for were not built to specifically target Gamma. A meditation app subscription runs around $15 a month, valuable, but not calibrated for this. A single session with a licensed therapist is around $150, and while there is genuine worth in that, it is a different kind of tool. A weekend spiritual retreat, which I deeply believe in, typically runs $400 to $800 for a few days of focused recalibration. None of these were designed to specifically target and reactivate gamma frequency. Dr. Lake built something that was. He condensed 34 years of neuroscience research into 7 minutes of audio. The standard price for the Genius Song is $49, but for the chosen ones in this community, because Dr. Lake's stated mission is to place this into the hands of the people who genuinely need it. The price here is $39, one time, no subscription, not available on Amazon, not available anywhere else. Delivered directly to your email as a digital file the moment you complete your purchase. And it comes with 4 additional resources at no extra cost. A second audio track calibrated specifically for children before the decline effect takes hold, valued at $19. The foundational book that the film The Secret was originally drawn from, the original source text on the principles behind abundance and alignment, valued at $20. A 22-minute guided visualization walkthrough across 4 areas of life: financial, relational, physical, and emotional, valued at $29. And a practical reference document covering the 5 daily habits of people who maintain gamma activation long-term, valued at $12. That is $80 in additional resources, included with the $39 investment. There is a full money-back guarantee, with no limitations on how many times you have listened before requesting it. There is only one place to access Dr. Lake's authentic version at this price. It is chosenrise.com/song. That is the link in the description below and in the pinned comment. Do not search for this elsewhere. What you find will not carry the same integrity or the same guarantee. The address is chosenrise.com/song. If your spirit is saying yes, consider not waiting until you have already arrived on the other side. The transition window is open right now. The new soil is most receptive at the moment of planting, not months after you have been struggling in it without the right frequency. The link is waiting for you. Only follow it if you feel genuinely led. Now let me speak over you what I believe this message was always building toward. Before I do, I want you to take one breath. Wherever you are right now, sitting, lying down, moving through your day, just one breath. In, slowly. Hold it for just a moment, and release it. Not because you need to perform anything spiritual, just because your body has been carrying this conversation, and I want you to receive what comes next with space inside you, not just thoughts about it. Now, in your imagination, I want you to picture arriving, not the complicated part, not the logistics, or the difficult conversations, or the uncertainty. Just the moment of arrival. The moment you step into the new environment and take your first breath of that different air. The quality of light is different there. Something in your body recognizes it, not because it is familiar, but because it is right. Somewhere in that new place, there is a person who looks up when you enter, and something passes between you before a single word is spoken. A recognition, a knowing. The weight you have been carrying does not vanish in that moment, but it shifts. It redistributes, like a load that was always meant to be carried differently, and you have finally arrived at the place where that becomes possible. Stay in that picture for just a moment. That is not wishful thinking, chosen one. That is your spirit showing you what your faith already knows is true. Here is what I want you to leave with, clearly and plainly. You are not lost. You are being relocated. The season you are leaving was not a mistake. It was the formation. The season you are entering is not a risk. It is the assignment. The person God formed inside the old season is exactly the person the new season requires. You are not going to arrive in the new place as someone who barely survived the journey. You are going to arrive as the pioneer, the one who went first, who opened a path, who made something possible for everyone who comes after. You are going to arrive as the one who finally stopped wandering and discovered that the wandering itself was the road home. You are going to arrive as the cycle breaker, the one in whose lifetime, in whose decision to trust the voice that said go, a long-standing pattern ends and a new inheritance begins. And you are going to arrive as the builder, someone who, in the new soil, in the new community, in the new season, creates something that outlasts everything it cost to get there. And I hear the Father saying to you, I have prepared the new place with the same care with which I formed you for it. Nothing you are leaving behind was wasted. Nothing waiting for you is too large for who I have made you to be. Pack up, beloved. What is ahead is worth every difficult thing it is costing you to go. One more thing. The new life that is coming carries a relational dimension that God is attending to with extraordinary care. The sacred companionship, the covenant people, the ones who will be your people in the fullest sense, if that part of your life has felt particularly hollow in the old season. Hold the name Destiny's Embrace in your spirit. There is more to say about that another time. But for now, trust that the right people are being moved toward you as you are being moved toward them. If this message confirmed something your spirit already knew, if it settled something, broke something open, gave name to something you have been carrying without language for it, I want to hear from you. Type the words, I am ready, in the comments right now. That is your declaration. That is your leka. That is the moment you say it out loud, not for me, but for the one who is waiting for your yes. If this message carried real weight for you, let the like on this video be your act of faith today, not for the algorithm, as a seal on what was spoken here. And if you want to stay on this journey, because what we have covered today is only the beginning of what this space carries, stay connected. So the next word finds you when you need it. New location, new people, new life. The God who called Abraham is calling you. And he has never once called a chosen one towards something too large for them to carry. The new ground is waiting, chosen one, and it has been waiting for you specifically. Go.